Standing here like this in the middle of my kitchen, it looks like I'm about to do some sort of cooking show. That's not what's about to happen. As a matter of fact, I'm actually going to be cleaning. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I figured I want to make a video in which I'm giving my thoughts on the Oscar nominations and my predictions for Oscar wins, but I have a lot of shit to do beforehand, and one of which is that I need to clean my kitchen. So I figured, why not do it now and do it at the same time that I make the video? So that's what I'm going to do. I have some stuff written down this notebook because, as you guys know, my memory is not exactly super reliable. Now, let's get started. So, one of the things that I would like to say first is, to those of you who watched my nominations video, I just dropped my pen in the sink, that's not good. But anyway, for those of you who watched my nominations video, the one in which I reacted to the Oscar nominations live, well, I did the reaction live. I posted the video a couple of hours afterward. But anyway, thank you very much for everybody who watched, and especially those who liked and spread it around. It means a lot. The positive reception was fantastic to see. Now, the other thing that I would like to mention is a lot of people said that I was probably one of the calmest reaction videos that they had seen in a long time. One of the most liked comments on that video was, "Nice sane reaction." First, thank you for whoever posted that. And yeah, I gotta say, I did see some other reactions and they weren't exactly as cool, calm, and collected as mine was. So, one thing that I'd like to say about the Oscars is that, I'm not gonna lie, I take them fairly seriously. I guess the best way I can explain it is that they're like my Super Bowl. I really enjoy watching them, and because I'm a fan of film, and because I like to see people get honored for good work, I always get pretty excited when the award season rolls around, and especially when the Academy Awards happen. And I have to say that, although I wouldn't say the nominations were bad, there were some real surprises. So, I'll start off with the good surprises. First, and this is one that I don't know whether to say it's good or bad. It's definitely not bad. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just that I don't know because I haven't seen the film. And honestly, I had never heard of it until it got the nominations. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. This film got multiple nominations in categories that nobody predicted it would get nominations for. I guess it goes to show that the Coens can't write a screenplay without it getting nominated for something. Now, that being said, I still have to see the film. I just wanted to mention that I thought it was pretty surprising that that one got a nomination at all, let alone the number of nominations it did. Now, another thing that I'd like to mention that is definitely a positive is that last weekend I got to see the film Roma, which is historic in the regards to the nominations because it is a film that is a Netflix film, and it got nominated for multiple awards. It's a foreign language film, so it obviously got nominated for Best Foreign Language Film. Sorry, I'm kind of going out of frame here. I have to reach over there, and I'm not exactly Stretch Armstrong. But anyway, so don't worry, that sound you just heard was not a bad one. It's just stuff moving around. But that movie got nominations that I did not expect. So I heard that a lot of people were expecting it to get a nomination for Best Picture, so I wasn't too surprised on that. But what I was surprised by was that it got 2 actress nominations. Marina Tavira, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, got a nomination for Best Supporting Actress, which, if I'm remembering right, did not happen at the Golden Globes and didn't happen in a lot of the other award circuits, but I digress. That was pretty cool to see, especially after I saw the film, because she did a terrific job. The real surprise, though, was Yalitza Aparicio's nomination for Best Actress. That was also well-deserved. Now, before I continue, here's something that I would like to address. I don't understand why a lot of people are angry about this nomination that she got. I actually had somebody comment on the video that I made talking about that and treating it kind of in a negative light. Basically, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to mispronounce her name, sorry. Yalitza Aparicio, the lady who plays Cleo in Roma. Fantastic film, by the way. Check it out if you get the chance. And her performance is fantastic, as I mentioned before. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. But anyway. What was I saying? Shit. Gotta put money in the swear jar now. But anyway. So, Yalitza Aparicio gives a very terrific performance. For those of you who don't know, she's not really an actress. Bear with me here. So, before she did the film, she was not a professional actress. She was actually somebody who had gone to school to be a school teacher, and she auditioned for the film and got the part. And her performance blew a lot of people away. So this is one of those rare cases of somebody who is not a quote-unquote professional actor or actress getting a nomination at the Oscars. And this is not the first time it's happened, and one of the people who commented on my video before was actually, for lack of better words, talking shit about it. The person who was mentioning this made a fair point that she's not really an actress and that, you know, somebody who's actually a member of the Screen Actors Guild should have been nominated. Now, first, I don't agree with that at all. I think that if you give a terrific performance, you should be able to be recognized by the Academy. And hers was mind-blowingly good, I have to say. I mean, regardless of where you come from and regardless of who you are, if you do great work, I love to see people recognized for it. And she deserves to be recognized for it. So, I'll get to this later. I don't think she'll win the Oscar, but I believe it's awesome that she got nominated at least, because she at least deserves a nomination. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a great performance. I don't care if she's not a member of the Screen Actors Guild. I don't know if she is offhand, but, I mean, she wasn't really an actress when she did Roma. And I don't really care about that. As long as she gives a good performance and kills it, which she basically did, then I'm happy. Now, watch out for noise, guys, because I'm moving pots and pans around now. Now to talk about snubs. The most obvious one, Justin Hurwitz for First Man, Best Original Score. What the hell, guys? I mean, how are you not going to nominate that? That movie had an amazing score. Not to say the ones that actually were nominated didn't, but where is he, guys? So, moving on from that, another thing that I wanted to mention were a couple of Best Supporting Actor snubs. Now, again, I'm not going to say that the people who got nominated were not worthy of a nomination, but where the heck is Timothée Chalamet, guys? He gave a great performance in Beautiful Boy. He was nominated for almost every single other supporting actor award, and you don't give him an Oscar nomination. What the heck is wrong with you? I'm kidding and saying it that meanly, but I mean, it did shock a lot of people, including me. And I'll just say this up front. Part of me was hoping that Michael B. Jordan would be nominated for his role in Black Panther, because he played a very good villain, and not like an evil, cackling caricature villain. Wow, I can't even say the word villain. He ended up playing a very complex villain, where even though he did horrible things that I do not endorse at all, you could understand his motivation, and you could really feel for this guy. Now, moving on from that. So, again, looking at my notebook. Documentary feature. Now, again, not saying that the ones nominated aren't good, although I've only seen 2 of them. I saw Free Solo, which I think is going to win, probably. And I also saw Minding the Gap. Minding the Gap was also awesome, but I thought Free Solo was a little bit better. If you get the chance, Minding the Gap is on Hulu. Check it out. Little side note here, it was filmed in Rockford, which is only a couple of hours away from where I live. And I watched it with a group of friends of mine who have close friends who lived in Rockford for a time. And apparently they have a friend who is a fairly close friend with the director of that film. So it's a pretty cool piece of trivia that I found out last weekend, or weekend before last weekend when we watched it. But anyway, getting back to the snub portion, Won't You Be My Neighbor? Probably my favorite documentary of the year. I don't know why that didn't get nominated. That film was amazing. For those of you who don't know, it was about Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. That was a great film. Definitely deserved to be nominated. That shocked a lot of people when it didn't get nominated for Best Documentary Feature. Also, even though I wouldn't say it was as good as Won't You Be My Neighbor, I would have liked to see 3 Identical Strangers in there, because that was a very good and complex film. Now, going on to Best Actress, Toni Collette, Hereditary. She definitely deserved to be in there. That was a great performance. Honestly, probably my favorite performance of the year. Now, as for Best Picture, I don't know if I'd say there's one where there's really a snub, except for If Beale Street Could Talk. That was one that I really expected to be in there, and still surprised that it wasn't nominated for Best Picture. Even though it did get a good number of other nominations, which is good. And now, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. Well, not quite this one. I have to go and get more paper towels because that roll is empty. I will be back. This is probably the slowest job I've ever done of cleaning this kitchen, because I've never done it while speaking to a camera before. Well, anyway, it's an interesting experience. Probably boring the hell out of you guys. But anyway, now where did I pull these from? Now, I know you guys are probably like, Steve, you obviously pulled them from the top of the stove. Well, I meant which. Did I pull them from the front or the back? That's what I was looking for. But anyway, on to my predictions of who might win. And there are some categories that are going to be very easy to guess. Like I mentioned, Best Documentary Feature will probably go to Free Solo. Best Foreign Language Film is almost definitely going to be Roma. But there are some that are a little hard to call. And just to shorten this up a little bit and not bore the hell out of you guys, because a lot of you guys probably don't care about the other categories, I'm going to stick with the bigger ones. The acting categories, the director category, and the Best Picture category. So, for Best Supporting Actor, my top pick is Mahershala Ali. He won the Golden Globe. He's won a bunch of other awards. His performance in Green Book was fantastic. I would say he's probably the one who has the best chance of winning. And if he doesn't win, my second pick is Sam Elliott. Now, as for Best Supporting Actress, again, not saying that the other supporting actress picks were bad. They're not at all. I want to stress this up front. Every single person who was nominated in any category I mentioned did a fantastic job. Of the ones I've seen, anyway. But I would bet money on Regina King for Best Supporting Actress for If Beale Street Could Talk, because I don't know how else to say it. It was a magnificent performance. Very strong, but she also played a very flawed character. It's the type of character that has a commanding presence, but at the same time makes mistakes without floundering, if that makes sense. It's a relatable person who makes mistakes and doesn't come off as stupid. The mistakes come off as legitimate mistakes. For those of you who have seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. That part toward the end. I'm not going to say what part for those of you who haven't seen the film. If you want to see something hard-hitting, go see If Beale Street Could Talk. Now, going on from that, what else do I have in here? Best Actor. Now, this one's going to be a little hard to call. I would say it's kind of a two-way race. I mean, there are obviously 5 nominees, but I would bet money that it'll either go to Rami Malek or Christian Bale. Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody, or Christian Bale for Vice. Now, both of these performances are what a lot of people call chameleon performances. The guys are heavily made up. They basically disappear into their roles, and they both do a beautiful job. Rami Malek playing Freddie Mercury totally killed it. Great performance. And Christian Bale, that's probably the best impersonation of Dick Cheney I've ever seen. I don't even know if I'd call it an impersonation. He basically became Dick frickin' Cheney. That's probably the only time in my life that I've ever used the words Dick frickin' Cheney in that order. But anyway, it's going to be very hard to call. Recently, Rami Malek's been winning more of the awards, I think. With that being said, both of them won in the Golden Globes for their respective categories. Rami Malek for Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role, Drama Film. 1 second, guys. Was dumb of me to not think of a place to put that before picking it up. And Christian Bale won for Best Performance in a Comedy or Musical, which, if you think about it, it's kind of weird. And I'm talking about the Golden Globes, by the way. It's kind of weird to think that they got nominated in those categories respectively. You'd think it'd be the other way around. Because usually what happens is when the Golden Globes roll around, usually they enter them in the categories that they think they'll win in. And it's interesting to see that that's the card they played there, because usually if there's any singing at all, or any inkling of comedy at all in a film, they'll just lump you into the comedy or musical category. And Rami Malek was literally playing a singer. But they put him in drama, and he won. Now Christian Bale playing, yes, I mean Vice is basically a comedy, a la The Big Short. But one could argue that's more of a dramatic performance than a comedic performance. Yet they put him in musical or comedy. And what happens? He wins. And honestly, I would not be surprised if either guy won. They're both fantastic performances. If I had to choose, let's go Rami Malek. I just happen to like his performance just a little bit more, just barely edging out Christian Bale's. But I will not be mad if Christian Bale wins. Now, Best Actress is a different story. That one I think is a three-way race. Again, 5 nominees, but 3 people who I think are most likely to win. Now, everybody was talking about Lady Gaga when the award season started, or basically pre-award season. Now, with that being said, the love of A Star is Born, for whatever reason, has kind of died down recently. And again, I mean, Lady Gaga is honestly one of the most talented people working in entertainment industry today. She is a true artist, and she pretty much nails everything she does. And her performances in A Star is Born was amazing. But I do still think that she has a shot at winning the Best Actress prize. Now, the other two who I think have just about as much of a shot are Glenn Close and Olivia Colman. Now, Olivia Colman, seriously a great performance in The Favorite. A very tragic performance because it's hilarious, but at the same time, you think, how could a person act like this? And she manages to do it convincingly. Very convincingly at that. And she won the Golden Globe for comedy or musical performance, so she has a pretty good shot based on that. And again, I'm talking about the Golden Globes. Now, Glenn Close, different story. I will admit I have not seen The Wife yet, but I've heard great things about her performance. And not only that, but she's been nominated quite a few times, and she hasn't won yet, if I'm remembering correctly. Yes, so fact check me on that, guys. I might be remembering wrong, but if I'm right, it's almost like how everybody was waiting for Leonardo DiCaprio for a good time. She's a great actress. She deserves a win at least once in her career. If any time is going to come, this might be it. So that's one of the people. So basically, I think it's a 3-way race between Olivia Colman, Lady Gaga, and Glenn Close. Now, as for Best Director, again, every director nominated, I think, did a very good job of the films that I've seen. I think that this is definitely going to go to Alfonso Cuarón for Roma. That is probably the best directed film I've seen this year. Now, moving on to Best Picture. This one's going to be tough to call. Very tough to call. I think the most likely to win are probably Roma and A Star is Born. And in a close second, probably BlacKkKlansman, and in a close third, probably Green Book. But again, it's going to be really hard to call. I think that Roma and A Star is Born probably have an equal chance. Roma is one of the best directed and most beautiful films that I've seen in a long time. And it has a lot of clout going for it because if it wins, it's going to be a historic win. It's a foreign language film, and it's a Netflix movie. So this would be groundbreaking for the idea of releasing a film via Netflix and having it, like, say, hey, this is good enough to win an Oscar. If it wins Best Picture, that's going to be a great thing for it, and it's going to be a great thing for Netflix and for streaming films in general. Now, with that being said, A Star is Born is also a great film, and it was a huge hopeful for an extremely long time. So I could very well see that one winning as well. That and BlacKkKlansman and Green Book are very good films for our time for people to be watching, one of which is a little bit darker tone, taking a look at race relations, and one of them being a little bit more of a lighthearted tone at looking at race relations, and they both treat their subject matters in very good ways. And all of the films are very well directed and very well written, and I could see any of them winning. But let's see. Now I'm about halfway through cleaning my kitchen because I ended up going really slow by talking to a camera while doing it. But hopefully I didn't bore the hell out of you guys talking about this. Alright. That's all I wanted to say for today, and let's see what the Academy has to say during the Oscar awards ceremony. Have a good night, guys.